And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And Elohim created man in his own image. And Elohim formed man from the dust of the ground, and he blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul endowed with speech. And Yahweh said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make unto him a helpmeet. And Yahweh caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took away one of his ribs, and he built flesh upon it, and formed it, and brought it to Adam. And Adam awoke from his sleep, and behold, a woman was standing before him. And he said, this is a bone of my bones, and it shall be called woman. For this has been taken from man. And Adam called her name Chua, for she was the mother of all living. And Elohim blessed them and called their names Adam and Chua in the day that he created them. And Yahweh Elohim said, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. And Yahweh Elohim took Adam and his woman, and he placed them in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to guard it. And he commanded them and said unto them, from every tree of the garden you may eat, but from the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in the day that you eat thereof, you shall surely die. And when Elohim had blessed and commanded them, he went from them, and Adam and his woman dwelt in the garden according to the command which Yahweh had commanded them. And the serpent which Elohim had created with them in the earth came to them and enticed them to transgress the commandment of Elohim, which he had commanded them. And the serpent enticed and persuaded the woman to eat from the tree of knowledge. And the woman hearkened to the voice of the serpent, and she transgressed the word of Yahweh, and took from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and she ate, and she took from it, and gave also to her man, and he ate. And Adam and his woman transgressed the commandment of Elohim, which he commanded them. And Elohim knew it, and his anger was kindled against them, and he cursed them. And Yahweh Elohim drove them that day from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which they were taken, and they went and dwelled at the east of the Garden of Eden. And Adam knew his woman Chua, and she bore 2 sons and 3 daughters. And she called the name of the firstborn Canaan, saying, I have obtained a man from Yahweh. And the name of the other she called Havel. For she said, in vanity we came into the earth, and in vanity we shall be taken from it. And the boys grew up, and their father gave them a possession in the land. And Canaan was a tiller of the ground, and Havel a keeper of sheep. And it was the expiration of a few years that they brought an approximating offering to Yahweh. And Canaan brought from the fruit of the ground, and Havel brought from the firstlings of his flock, from the fat thereof. And Elohim turned and inclined to Havel and his offering, and a fire came down from Yahweh from heaven and consumed it. And unto Canaan and his offering Yahweh did not turn, and he did not incline to it, for he had brought it from the inferior fruit of the ground before Yahweh. And Canaan was jealous against his brother Havel on the count of this, and he sought a pretext to slay him. And in some time after, Canaan and Havel his brother went one day into the field to do work, and they were both in the field, Canaan tilling and plowing his ground, and Havel feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Canaan had plowed in the ground, and its sword grieved Canaan on this account. And Canaan approached his brother Havel in anger, and he said to him, what is there between me and you, that you come to dwell and bring your flock to feed in my land? And Havel answered his brother Canaan and said to him, what is there between me and you, that you shall eat the flesh of my flock and clothe yourself with their wool. And now, therefore, put off the wool of my sheep, which you have clothed yourself, and recompense me for their fruit and flesh which you have eaten. And when you shall have done this, I will then go from your land, as you have said. And Canaan said to his brother Haavel, surely, if I slay you this day, who will require your blood from me? And Haavel answered Canaan, saying, surely Elohim, who has made us in the earth, he will avenge my case, and he will require my blood from you. You should slay me. For Yahweh is a judge, an arbiter, and it is he who will requite man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to the wickedness that he may do upon earth. And now, if you should slay me here, surely Elohim knows your secret views, and will judge you for the evil which you declared to do unto me this day. And when Canaan heard words which Haavel his brother had spoken, behold, the anger of Canaan was kindled against his brother Haavel for declaring this thing. And Canaan hastened and rose up and took the iron part of his plow instrument, with which he suddenly smote his brother, and he slew him. And Canaan spilt the blood of his brother Haavel upon the earth, and the blood of Haavel streamed upon the earth before the flock. And after this, Canaan repented, having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it vexed him exceedingly. And Canaan rose up and dug a hole in the field, wherein he put his brother's body, and he turned the dust over it. And Yahuwah knew what Canaan had done to his brother, and Yahuwah appeared to Canaan and said to him, where is Haavel your brother that was with you? And Canaan dissembled, and he said, I do not know. Am I to guard my brother? And Yahuwah said unto him, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries unto me from the ground where you have slain him. For you have slain your brother, and have disassembled before me, and did imagine in your heart that I saw you not, nor know all your actions. But you did this thing, and did slay your brother for naught, and because he spoke rightly to you. And now, therefore, cursed be you from the ground which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand, and wherein you did bury him. And it shall be, when you shall till it, it shall no more give you its strength as in the beginning, for thorns and thistles shall the ground produce. And you shall be moving and wandering in the earth till the day of your death. And at that time, Canaan went out from the presence of Yahuwah and from the place where he was, and he went moving and wandering in the land towards the east of Eden, he and all belonging to him. And Canaan knew his woman in those days, and she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name Chanok, saying, in that time Yahuwah began to give him rest and quiet in the earth. And at that time Canaan also began to build a city, and he built the city, and he called the name of the city Chanok, according to the name of his son. For in those days Yahuwah had given him rest upon the earth, and he did not move about and wander as in the beginning. And Irad was born to Chanok, and Irad begot Mechuyael, and Mechuyael begot Methushael, and Methushael begot Lamech. And it was in the 113th year of the life of Adam upon the earth that he again knew Hua, his woman, and she conceived and bore him a son in his likeness and in his image. And she called his name Seth, saying, because Elohim has appointed me another seed in the place of Haavel, for Canaan has slain him. And Seth lived 105 years and begot a son. And Seth called his name Enosh, saying, because in the time the sons of men began to multiply and to afflict their souls and hearts by transgressing and rebelling against Elohim. And it was in the days of Enosh that the sons of men continued to rebel and transgress against Elohim, to increase the anger of Yahweh against the sons of men. And the sons of men went and they served other Elohim, and they forgot Yahweh who had created them in the earth. And in those days the sons of men made images of brass and iron, wood and stone, and they bowed down and served them. And every man made his Elohim, and they bowed down to them. And the sons of men forsook Yahuwah all the days of Enosh and his children, and the anger of Yahuwah was kindled on account of their works and abominations which they did in earth. And Yahuwah caused the waters of the river Gihon to overwhelm them, and he destroyed and he consumed them. And he destroyed the third part of the earth. And notwithstanding this, the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were yet extended to do evil in the sight of Yahweh. And in those days there were neither sowing or reaping on the earth, and there was no food for the sons of men. And the famine was very great in those days. And the seed which they sowed in those days in the ground became thorns, thistles, and briars. For from the days of Adam was this declaration concerning the earth, of the curse of Elohim, which he cursed the earth on account of the sin which Adam sinned before Yahweh. And it was when men continued to rebel and transgress against Elohim, and to corrupt their ways, that the earth also became corrupt. And Enosh lived 90 years and begot Canaan. And Canaan grew up, and he was 40 years old, and he became wise and had knowledge and skill and all wisdom, and he reigned over the sons of men. And he led the sons of men to wisdom and knowledge, for Canaan was a very wise man, and he had understanding in all wisdom. And with his wisdom he ruled over Ruchos, the devils. And Canaan knew by his wisdom that Elohim would destroy the sons of men for having sinned upon the earth, and that Yahuwah would in later days bring upon them the waters of the flood. And in those days Canaan wrote upon tablets of stone what was to take place in time to come, and he put them in his treasures. And Canaan reigned over the whole earth, and he turned some of the sons of men to the service of Elohim. And when Canaan was 70 years old, he begot 3 sons and 2 daughters. And these are the names of the children of Canaan. The name of the firstborn, Ma'al, and the second, Enan, and the third, Mered. And their sons were Adah and Tesela. These are the 5 children of Canaan that were born to him. And Lamech, the son of Methuselah, became related to Canaan by marriage, and he took his 2 daughters for his woman. And Adah conceived and bore a son to Lamech, and she called his name Yaval. And she again conceived and bore a son, and called his name Yuval. And Tesela, her sister, was barren in those days and had no offspring. For in those days the sons of men began to transgression against Elohim, and to transgress the commandments which he had commanded to Adam, to be fruitful and multiply in the earth. And some of the sons of men caused their women to drink a draught that would render them barren, in order that they might retain their figures, and whereby their beautiful appearance might not fade. And when the sons of men cursed some of the women to drink, Tesela drank with them, and the childbearing woman appeared abominable in the sight of men as widows, while their men lived, for to the barren ones only they were attached. And in the end of days and years, when Tesela became old, Yahuwah opened her womb, And she conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Tubal-Canaan, saying, After I had withered away, have I obtained him from El Shaddai Elohim. And she conceived again, and bore a daughter, and she called her name Naamah. For she said, After I had withered away, have I obtained pleasure and delight. And Lamech was old and advanced in years, and his eyes were dim, and he could not see. And Tubal-Canaan, his son, was leading him. And it was one day that Lamech went into the field with Tubal-Canaan. His son was with him. And while they were walking in the field, Canaan, the son of Adam, advanced towards them, for Lamech was very old and could not see much, and Tubal-Canaan, his son, was very young. And Tubal-Canaan told his father to draw his bow, and with the arrows he smote Canaan, who was yet far off, and he slew him, for he appeared to him to be an animal, and the arrows entered Canaan's body, although he was distant from them, and he fell to the ground and died. And Yahuwah requited Canaan's evil according to his wickedness, which he had done to his brother Haavel, according to the word of Yahuwah which he had spoken. And it came to pass, when Canaan had died, that Lamech and Tubal-Canaan went to see the animal which they had slain. And they saw, and behold, Canaan, their grandfather, was fallen dead upon the earth. And Lamech was very much grieved at having done this, and in clapping his hands together, he struck his son and caused his death. And the woman of Lamech heard what Lamech had done, and they sought to kill him. And the woman of Lamech hated him from that day, because he slew Canaan and Tubal-Canaan, and the woman of Lamech separated from him, and would not hearken to him in those days. And Lamech came to his women, and he pressed them to listen to him about this matter. And he said to his woman Adah and to Silla, Hear my voice, O women of Lamech, attend to my words, for now you have imagined and said that I slew a man with my wounds and a child with my stripes, for their having done no violence. But surely know that I am old and gray-headed, and that my eyes are heavy through age, and I did this thing unknowingly. And the woman of Lamech listened to him in this matter, and they returned to him with the advice of their father Adam. But they bore no children to him from that time, knowing that Elohim's anger was increasing in those days against the sons of men, to destroy them with the waters of the flood for their evil doings. And Mahalalel, the son of Canaan, lived 65 years and begot Yared. And Yared lived 62 years, and he begot Hanok. And Hanok lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. And Hanok walked with Elohim after having been begot Methuselah. He served Yahuwah and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Hanok was wrapped up in the instruction of Yahuwah, in knowledge and in understanding. And he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many days. And it was at the expiration of many years, while he was serving Yahuwah and praying before him in his house, that an angel of Yahuwah called to him from heaven and said, Here I am. And he said, Rise, go forth from your house and from the place where you do hide yourself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that you may teach them the way in which they should go, and the work which they must accomplish to enter in the ways of Elohim. And Hanok rose up according to the word of Yahuwah, and went forth from his house, from his place, and from the chamber in which he was concealed. And he went to the sons of men and taught them the ways of Yahuwah. And at the time assembled the sons of men and acquainted them with the instructions of Yahuwah. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men dwelt, saying, Where is the man who wishes to know the ways of Yahweh and good works? Let him come to Hanok and all the sons of men, and then assemble to him. For all who desired this thing went to Hanok, and Hanok reigned over the sons of men according to the word of Yahweh. And they came and bowed to him, and they heard his word. And the Ruach Elohim was upon Hanok, and he taught all his men the wisdom of Elohim and his ways. And the sons of men served Yahweh all the days of Hanok, and they came to hear his wisdom. And all the kings of the sons of men, both first and last together, with their princes and judges, came to Hanok when they heard of his wisdom, and they bowed down to him. And they also required of Hanok to reign over them, to which he consented. And they assembled in all 130 kings and princes, and they made Hanok king over them. And they were all under his power and command, and Hanok taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of Yahweh. And he made peace among them, and peace was throughout the earth during the life of Hanok. And Hanok reigned over the sons of men 243 years. And he did justice and righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the ways of Yahweh. And these are the generations of Hanok: Methuselah, Elisha, Elimelech. 3 sons, and their sisters were Melcha, Naamah, and Methuselah lived 87 years, and he begot Lamech. And it was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech, when Adam died, 930 years old was he at his death. And his 2 sons with Hanok and Methuselah, his son, buried him with great pomp, as at the burial of kings in the cave which Elohim had told them. And in that place all the sons of men made a great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. It has therefore become a custom among all sons of men to this day. And Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, he and the children after him, as Yahuwah Elohim had spoken. And it was in the year of Adam's death, which was 243rd year of the reign of Hanok. In that time Hanok resolved to separate himself from the sons of men, and to secret himself as the first in order to serve Yahweh. And Hanok did so. But he did not entirely secret himself from them, but kept away from the sons of men 3 days, and then went to them for 1 day. And during the 3 days that he was in his chamber, he prayed to and praised Yahweh Eloheinu. And the day on which he went and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the ways of Yahweh. And all they asked him about Yahweh, he told them. And he did in this manner for many years. And he afterward concealed himself for 6 days, and appeared to his people 1 day in 7, and after that once in a month, and then once in a year, until all the kings, princes, and sons of men sought for him, and desired again to see the face of Hanok, and to hear his words. But they could not, as the sons of men were greatly afraid of Hanok, and they feared to approach him on the account of Elohim, like awe that was seated upon his countenance. Therefore no man could look at him, fearing he might be punished and die. And all the kings and princes resolved to assemble the sons of men, and to come to Hanok, thinking that they might all speak to him at the time when he should come forth amongst them. And they did so. And the day came when Hanok went forth, and they all assembled and came to him. And Hanok spoke to them the words of Yahweh, and he taught them wisdom and knowledge. And they bowed down before him, and they said, "May the king live, may the king live." And in some time after, when the kings and princes and the sons of men were speaking to Hanok, and Hanok was teaching them the ways of Elohim, Behold, an angel of Yahweh then called to Hanoch from heaven, and wished to bring him up to heaven to make him reign there over the sons of Elohim, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon the earth. When at that time Hanoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth, and taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instructions. And he said to them, I have been required to ascend to heaven. I therefore do not know the day of my going. And now, therefore, I will teach you wisdom and knowledge, and I will give you instruction before I leave you, how to act upon the earth whereby you may live. And he did so. And he taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them instruction, and he reproved them, and he placed them commandments and judgments to do upon the earth, and he made peace among them, and he taught them everlasting life, and dwelt with them some time, teaching them all these things. And at that time the sons of men were with Hanoch, and Hanoch was speaking to them. And they lifted up their eyes, and the likeness of the great horse descended from heaven, and the horse paced in the air. And they told Hanoch what they had seen, and Hanoch said to them, On my account does this horse descend upon earth, and the time is come when I must go from you, and I shall no more be seen by you. And the horse descended at the time, and stood before Hanoch, and all the sons of men that were with Hanoch saw him. And Hanoch then again ordered a voice to be proclaimed, saying, Where is the man who delights to know the ways of Yahweh Eloheinu? Let him come this day to Hanoch before he is taken from us. And all the sons of men assembled and came to Hanoch that day, and all the kings of the earth with their princes and counselors remained with him that day. And Hanoch then taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instruction. And he bade them serve Yahweh and walk in his ways all the days of your lives. And he continued to make peace among them. And it was after this that he rose up and rode upon the horse, and he went forth, and all the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men, and they went with him one day's journey. And the second day he said to them, Return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die. And some of them went from him, and those that remained went with him 6 days' journey. And Hanoch said to them every day, Return to your tents, lest you may die. But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. And on the 6th day, some of the men remained and clung to him. And they said to him, We will go with you to the place where you go. As Yahweh lives, death only shall separate us. And they urged so much to go with him that he ceased speaking to them. And they went after him and would not return. And when the kings returned, they caused a census to be taken in order to know the number of remaining men that went to Hanoch. And it was upon the 7th day that Hanoch ascended into heaven in a whirlwind with horses and chariots of fire. And on the 8th day, all the kings that had been with Hanoch sent to bring back the number of men that were with Hanoch in that place from which he ascended into heaven. And all those kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow, and upon the snow were large stones of snow. And one said to the other, Come, let us break through the snow and see, perhaps the men that remain with Hanoch are dead, and are now under the stones of the snow. And they searched, but could not find them, for he had ascended into heaven. And all the days that Hanoch lived upon the earth were 365 years. And when Hanoch had ascended into heaven, all the kings of the earth rose and took Methuselah, his son, and anointed him, and they caused him to reign over them in the place of his father. And Methuselah acted uprightly in the sight of Elohim, as his father Hanoch had taught him, and he likewise during the whole of his life, taught the sons of men wisdom, knowledge, and the fear of Elohim. And he did not turn from the good way either to the right or to the left. But in the latter days of Methuselah, the sons of men turned from Yahweh, and they corrupted the earth. They robbed and they plundered each other. And they rebelled against Elohim, and they transgressed, and they corrupted their ways, and would not hearken to the voice of Methuselah, but rebelled against him. And Yahweh was exceedingly wroth against them. And Yahweh continued to destroy the seed in those days, so that there was neither sowing nor reaping on the earth. For when they sowed the ground in order that they might obtain food for their support, behold, thorns and thistles were produced, which they did not sow. And still the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were still extended to do evil in the sight of Elohim. And they provoked Yahweh with all their evil ways. And Yahweh was very wroth, and repented that he had made man. And he thought to destroy and annihilate them. And he did so in those days when Lamech, the son of Methuselah, was 160 years old. Seth, the son of Adam, died. And all the days that Seth lived were 912 years, and he died. And Lamech was 180 years old when he took Ashmua, the daughter of Elvashah, the son of Hanok, his uncle, and she conceived. And at that time the sons of men sowed the ground, and a little food was produced. Yet the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and they transpassed and rebelled against Elohim. And the woman of Lamech conceived and bore him a son at the time, at the revolution of the year. And Methuselah called his name Noach, saying, the earth was in his days at rest and free from corruption. And Lamech, his father, called his name Menachem, saying, this one shall comfort us in our works and miserable toil on the earth, which Elohim had cursed. And the child grew up and was weaned, and he went in the ways of his father Methuselah, perfect and upright with Elohim. And all his sons of men departed from the ways of Yahweh in those days, as they multiplied upon the face of the earth, with the sons and daughters, and they taught one another their evil practices, and they continued sinning against Yahweh. And every man made unto himself an Elohim. And they robbed and plundered every man his neighbor as well as his relative. And they corrupted the earth, and the earth was filled with violence. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men, and took their women by force from their men according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth, and the beasts of the fields, and the fowls of the air, and taught the mixture of animals of one species with the other, in order therewith to provoke Yahweh. And Elohim saw the whole earth, and it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted its ways upon the earth, all men and all animals. And Yahweh said, I will blot out man that I created from the face of the earth, yea, from man to the birds of the air, together with cattle and beasts that are in the field, for I repent that I made them. And all men who walked in the ways of Yahweh died in those days before Yahweh brought an evil upon man, which he declared, for this was from Yahweh, that they should not see the evil which Yahweh spoke of concerning the sons of men. And Noah found grace in the sight of Yahweh, and Yahweh chose him and his children to raise up seed from them upon the face of the whole earth. And it was in the 84th year of the life of Noah that Enosh, the son of Seth, died. He was 905 years old at his death. And in the 179th year of the life of Noah, Canaan, the son of Enosh, died. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And in 234th year of the life of Noah, Mahalalel, the son of Canaan, died, and the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. And Yared, the son of Mahalalel, died in those days. And in 336 year of the life of Noah, and in all the days of Yared were 962 years, and he died. And all who followed Yahweh died in those days before they saw the evil which Elohim declared to do upon the earth. And after the lapse of many years, in the 480th year of the life of Noah, when all those men who followed Yahweh had died away from amongst the sons of men, and only Methuselah was then left, Elohim said to Noah and Methuselah, saying, Speak ye and proclaim to the sons of men, saying, Thus says Yahweh, return from your evil ways and forsake your works, and Yahweh will repent of the evil that he has declared to do unto you, so that it shall not come to pass. For thus says Yahweh, Behold, I give you a period of 120 years. If you will turn to me and forsake your evil ways, then will I also turn away from the evil which I told you, and it shall not exist, says Yahweh. And Noah and Methuselah spoke all the words of Yahweh to the sons of men, day after day, constantly speaking to them. But the sons of men would not hearken to them, nor incline their ears to their works. And they were stiff-necked, and Yahweh granted them a period of 120 years, saying, If they will return, then will Elohim repent of the evil, so as not to destroy the earth. Noah, the son of Lamech, refrained from taking a woman in those days to beget children, for he said, Surely now Elohim will destroy the earth. Wherefore then shall I beget children? And Noah was a just man. He was perfect in his generations, and Yahweh chose him to raise up seed from his seed upon the face of the earth. And Yahweh said to Noah, Take unto you a woman and beget children. For I have seen you righteous before me in this generation, and you shall raise up seed, and your children with you in the midst of the earth. And Noah went and took a woman, and he chose Naamah, the daughter of Chanok, and she was 580 years old, and Noah was 498 years old when he took Naamah for a woman. And Naamah conceived and bore a son. And Noah called his name Shem, saying, Elohim has made me a remnant to raise up seed in the midst of the earth. And she conceived again and bore a son, and he called his name Japheth, saying, Elohim has enlarged me in the earth. And Noah was 502 years old when Naamah bore Shem, and the boys grew up and went in the ways of Yahweh, and all that Methuselah and Noah their father taught them. And Lamech, the father of Noah, died in those days, yet truly he did not go with all his heart in the ways of his father, and he died in the 190th year in the life of Noah. And all the days of Lamech were 770 years, and he died. And all the sons of men who knew Yahuwah died in that year before Yahuwah brought evil upon them. For Yahuwah willed them to die, so as not to behold the evil that Elohim would bring upon their brothers and relatives, as he had so declared to do. In that time, Yahuwah said to Noah and Methuselah, Stand forth and proclaim to the sons of men all the words that I spoke to you in those days. Perchance they may turn from their evil ways, and I will then repent of the evil and will not bring it. And Noah and Methuselah stood forth and said in the ears of the sons of men all that Elohim had spoken concerning them. But the sons of men would not hearken, neither would they incline their ears to all their declarations. And it was after that Yahuwah had said to Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me on account of their evil deeds, and behold, I will destroy the earth. And do you take unto your gopher wood and go to a certain place and make a large ark and place it in that spot. And thus shall you make it 300 cubits its length, 50 cubits broad, and 30 cubits high. And you shall make unto you a door open at its side, and to a cubit you shall finish above, and cover it within and without with pitch. And behold, I will bring the flood of waters upon the earth, and all the flesh be destroyed from under the heavens. All that is upon the earth shall perish. And you and your household shall go and gather 2 couple of all living things, male and female, and shall bring them to the ark, to raise up seed from them upon earth, and gather unto you all food that is eaten by the animals, that there may be food for you and for them. And you shall choose for your sons 3 maidens from the daughters of men, and they shall be women to your sons. And Noah rose up, and he made the ark in the place where Elohim had commanded him. And Noah did as Elohim had ordered him. In his 595th year, Noah commenced to make the ark, and he made the ark in 5 years as Yahuwah had commanded. Then Noah took his 3 daughters of Eliakim, son of Methuselah, for women for his sons, as Yahuwah had commanded Noah. And it was at that time that Methuselah, the son of Hanoch, died. 960 years old was he at his death. At that time, after the death of Methuselah, Yahuwah said to Noah, go you with your household unto the ark. Behold, I will gather to you all the animals of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and they shall all come and surround the ark. And you shall go and seat yourself by the door of the ark, and all the beasts, the animals, and the fowls shall assemble and place themselves before you. And such of them as shall come and crouch before you shall you take and deliver into the hands of your sons, who shall bring them to the ark, and all that will stand before you, you shall leave. And Yahuwah brought this about on the next day, and the animals, beasts, and fowls came in great multitudes and surrounded the ark. And Noah went and seated himself by the door of the ark. And of all flesh that crouched before him, he brought into the ark, and all that stood before him, he left upon the earth. And a lioness came with her 2 whelps, male and female, and the 3 crouched before Noah. And the 2 whelps rose up against the lioness and smote her, and made her flee from her place. And she went away, and they returned to their places, and crouched upon the earth before Noah. And the lioness ran away and stood in the place of the lions. And Noah saw this and wondered greatly. And he rose and took the 2 whelps and brought them into the ark. And Noah brought into the ark from all living creatures that were upon the earth, so that there was none left but which Noah brought into the ark. 2 and 2 came to Noah in the ark, but from the clean animals and the clean fowls he brought 7 couples, and Elohim had commanded him. And all the animals and beasts and fowls were still there, and they surrounded the ark at every place, and the rain had not descended until 7 days after. And on that day Yahuwah caused the whole earth to shake, and the sun darkened, and the fountains of the world raged, and the whole earth was moving violently, and the lightning flashed, and the thunder roared, and all the fountains of the earth were broken up, such as was not known to the inhabitants before. And Elohim did this mighty act in order to terrify the sons of men, that there might be no more evil upon the earth. And still the sons of men would not return from their evil ways, and they increased the anger of Yahweh at that time, and did not even direct their hearts to all this. And at the end of the 7 days, in the 600th year of the life of Noah, the waters of the flood were upon the earth, and all the fountains of the deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And Noah and his household and all the living creatures that were with him came into the ark on account of the waters of the flood, and Yahweh shut him in. And all the sons of men that were left upon the earth became exhausted through evil on the account of the rain. For the waters were coming more violently upon the earth, and the animals and the beast were still surrounding the ark. And the Son of Men assembled together, about 700,000 men and women, and they came to Noah to the ark, and they called to Noah, saying, Open for us, that we may come to you in the ark. And wherefore shall we die? And Noah with a loud voice answered them from the ark, saying, Have you not all rebelled against Yahweh, and said that he does not exist? And therefore Yahweh brought upon you this evil to destroy and cut you off from the face of the earth. Is not this the thing that I spoke to you of 120 years back? And you would not hearken to the voice of Yahweh? And now do you desire to live upon the earth? And they said to Noah, We are ready to return to Yahweh. Only open for us that we may live and not die. And Noah answered them, saying, Behold, now that you see the trouble of your souls, you wish to return to Yahweh. Why did you not return during these 120 years, which Yahweh granted you as the determined period? But now you come and tell me this on account of the troubles of your soul. Now also Yahweh will not listen to you, neither will he give ear to you on this day, so that you will not succeed in your wishes. And the sons of men approached in order to break into the ark, to come in on account of the rain, for they could not bear the rain upon them. And Yahweh sent all the beasts and animals that stood round the ark, and the beast overpowered them and drove them from the place. And every man went his way, and they again scattered themselves upon the face of the earth. And the rain was still descending upon the earth, and it descended 40 days and 40 nights, and the water prevailed greatly upon the earth, and all the flesh that was upon the earth or in the waters died, whether men, animals, beasts, creeping things, or birds of the air. And there only remained Noah and those that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed, and they greatly increased upon the earth. And they lifted up the ark, and it was raised from the earth, and the ark floated upon the face of the waters, and it was tossed upon the waters, so that all the living creatures within were turned about like pottage in a cauldron. And the great anxiety seized all the living creatures that were in the ark, and the ark was like to be broken, and all the living creatures that were in the ark were terrified, and the lions roared, and the oxen lowed, and the wolves howled, and every living creature in the ark spoke and lamented in its own language, so that their voices reached to the great distance, and Noah and his sons cried and wept in their troubles. They were greatly afraid that they had reached the gates of death. And Noah prayed to Yahweh and cried unto him on account of this. And he said, O Yahweh, help us, for we have no strength to bear this evil that has encompassed us, for the waves of the waters have surrounded us. Mischievous torrents have terrified us, and the snares of death had come before us. Answer us, O Yahweh, answer us, light up your countenance towards us, and be gracious to us, redeem us and deliver us. And Yahweh hearkened to the voice of Noah, and Yahweh remembered him. And the wind passed over the earth, and the waters were still, and the ark rested. And the fountains of the deep in the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. And the waters decreased in those days, and the ark rested upon the mountain of Ararat. And Noah then opened the windows of the ark, and Noah still called out to Yahweh at that time, and he said, O Yahweh, who did form the earth and the heavens and all that are there within, bring forth our souls from this confinement and from the prison wherein you have placed us. For I am much wearied with sighing. And Yahweh hearkened to the voice of Noah and said to him, when you shall have completed a full year, you shall then go forth. And at the revolution of the year, when a full year was completed to Noah dwelling in the ark, the waters were dried from the earth, and Noah put off the covering of the ark. At that time, on the 27th day of the second month, when the earth was dry, but Noah and his sons and those that were with him did not go out from the ark until Yahweh told them. And the day came that Yahweh told them to go out, and they all went out from the ark. And they all went and returned every one to his way and to his place. And Noah and his sons dwelt in the land that Elohim had told them, and they served Yahweh all their days. And Yahweh blessed Noah and his sons on their going out from the ark. And he said to them, be fruitful and fill all the earth, become strong, and increase abundantly in the earth, and multiply therein. And these are the names of the sons of Noah. Japheth, Ham, Shem, and their children were born to them after the flood, for they had taken women before the flood. These are the sons of Japheth: Gimmer, Magog, Madai, Yavan, Tubal, Meshach, and Thyrak, 7 sons. And the sons of Gimmer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Magog were Elishun, and Lubal. And the children of Medai were Achon, Elo, Shazoniv, and Lot. And the sons of Yavan were Elisha, Tarshavish, Kittim, and Donavim. And the sons of Tubal were Arphi, Keshed, and Ta'ari. And the sons of Meshach were Didon, Zaron, Shevnashini. And the sons of Thyrek were Beniev, Gerah, Lupereon, and Gilak. These are the sons of Japheth, according to their families, and their numbers in those days were about 460 men. And these are the sons of Shem: Cush, Mitzrayim, Put, and Canaan, 4 sons. And the sons of Cush were Sheva, Shavilah, Shephta, Ra'amah, and Kavteka. And the sons of Ra'amah were Sheva, Dedan. And the sons of Mitzrayim were Ludim, Anaim, and Pathrusim, and Kaklukim, and Kaphatorim. And the sons of Put were Gavul, Hadan, Benah, and Adan. And the sons of Canaan were Tisadon, Heth, Amarev, Gershavi, Shevavi, Arki, Sinai, Arvadi, Tesemari, and Hamathi. These are the sons of Ham, and according to their families, and their numbers in those days were about 730 men. And these are the sons of Shem: Eliam, Ashur, Archopashad, Ludi, and Aram, 5 sons, and the sons of Elam were Shushan, Machul, and Harman. And the sons of Ashur were Meres and Mokil. And the sons of Arpachshad were Shelah, Anar, and Ashkol. And the sons of Ludi were Pethor and Bizion. And the sons of Aram were Utz, Hul, Gather, and Mash. These are the sons of Shem according to their families, and their numbers in those days were about 300 men. And these are the generations of Shem. Shem begat Arpachshad, and Arpachshad begot Shelah, and Shelah begot Eber, and to Eber were born 2 children. The name of one was Peleg, for in those days the sons of men were divided, and in the later day the earth was divided. And the name of the second was Yoktan, meaning that in this day the lives of the sons of men were diminished and lessened. These are the sons of Yoktan: Almadad, Sheleph, Shezor-Moveth, Yarak, Hadoram, Uzal, Dekla, Ovel, Avamalel, Sheva, Ophar, Shavialah, Yoval. These are the sons of Yoktan. And Peleg, his brother, begot Reu, and Reu begot Sherug, and Sherug begot Nechor, and Nechor begot Terach, and Terach was 38 years old, and he begot Haran, and Nachor. And Cush, the son of Ham, the son of Noach, took women in those days in his old age, and she bore a son, and they called his name Nimrod, saying, at that time the sons of men again began to rebel and transgress against Elohim, and the child grew up, and his father loved him exceedingly, for he was the son of his old age. And the garments of skin which Elohim made for Adam and his woman when they went out of the garden were given to Cush. For after the death of Adam and his woman, the garments were given to Chanok, the son of Yared. And when Chanok was taken up to Elohim, he gave them to Methuselah, his son. And at the death of Methuselah, Noach took them and brought them to the ark, and they were with him until he went out of the ark. And in their going out, Shem stole these garments from Noach, his father, and he took them and hid them from his brothers. And when Shem begot his firstborn Cush, he gave the garments to him in secret, and they were with Cush many days. And Cush also concealed them from his sons and brothers. When Cush had begotten Nimrod, he gave him those garments through his love for him, and Nimrod grew up. And when he was 20 years old, he put on the garments, and Nimrod became strong when he put on the garments. And Elohim gave him might and strength, and he was a mighty hunter in the earth. Yea, he was a mighty hunter in the field, and he hunted the animals, and he built altars, and he offered upon them the animals before Yahweh. And Nimrod strengthened himself, and he rose up from among his brethren, and he fought the battles of his brethren against all their enemies round about. And Yahweh delivered all the enemies of his brethren in his hands, and Elohim pampered him from time to time in his battles, and he reigned upon the earth. Therefore it became current in those days, when a man ushered forth those that he had trained up for battle, he would say to them, like Elohim did to Nimrod, who was a mighty hunter on the earth, and who succeeded in the battles that prevailed against the brethren, and he delivered them from the hands of their enemies. So may Elohim strengthen us and deliver us this day. And when Nimrod was 40 years old, at that time there was a war between the brethren and the children of Japheth, so that they were in the power of their enemies. And Nimrod went forth at that time, and he assembled all the sons of Cush and their families, about 460 men, and he hired also from some of his friends and acquaintances about 80 men, and he gave them their hire, and he went with them to battle. And when he was on the road, Nimrod strengthened the hearts of the people that went with him. And he said to them, "Do not fear, neither be alarmed, for our enemies will be delivered into our hands, and you may do with them as you please." And all the men that went there, about 500, and they fought against their enemies, and they destroyed them and subdued them. And Nimrod placed standing officers over them in their respective places. And he took some of their children as security, and they were all servants to Nimrod and to his brethren. And Nimrod and all the people that were with him turned homeward. And when Nimrod had joyfully returned from battle, after having conquered his enemies, all his brethren together with those who knew him before assembled to make him king over them. And they placed a regal crown upon his head. And he set over his subjects and people, princes, judges, and rulers, as is the custom amongst kings. And he placed Terach, the son of Nahor, the prince of his host, and he dignified him and elevated him above all his princes. And while he was reigning according to his heart's desire, after having conquered all his enemies around, he advised with his counselors to build a city for his palace. And they did so. And they found a large valley opposite to the east, and they built him a large and extensive city. And Nimrod called the name of the city that he built Shinar, for Yahuwah had vehemently shaken his enemies and destroyed them. And Nimrod dwelled in Shinar, and he reigned securely in all. He fought with his enemies, and he subdued them, and he prospered in all his battles, and his kingdom became very great. And all nations and tongues heard of his fame, and they gathered themselves to him. And they bowed down to the earth, and they brought him offerings, and he became their Lord and King. And they all dwelt with him in the city of Shinar, and Nimrod reigned in the earth over all the sons of Noah, and they were all under his power and counsel. And all the earth was of one tongue, and the words of union. But Nimrod did not go in the ways of Yahuwah, and he was more wicked than all the men that were before him from the days of the flood until those days. And he made Elohim of wood and stone, and he bowed down to them, and he rebelled against Yahuwah, and taught all his subjects and the people of the earth his wicked ways. And Mardon, his son, was more wicked than his father. And everyone that heard of the acts of Mardon, the son of Nimrod, would say concerning him, "From the wicked goes forth wickedness." Therefore, it became a proverb in the whole earth, saying, "From the wicked goes forth wickedness." And it was current in the words of men from that time to this. And Torah, the son of Nahor, prince of Nimrod's host, was in those days very great in the sight of the king and subjects, and the king and princes loved him, and they elevated him very high. And Terach took a woman, and her name was Ameliathol, for the daughter of Cornbol. And the woman of Terach conceived and bore him a son in those days. Terach was 70 years old when he begot him, and Terach called the name of his son that was born to him Abram, because the king had raised him in those days and dignified him above all his princes that were with him.